Hey guys, what's going on? It's Vic here, back with another Madden 21 video. In today's episode, we're going to be rebuilding the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they have had a lot of injuries in the past, including this year. Last year, they were healthy and they made it to the Super Bowl, so this could be a Super Bowl contending team in Madden. George Kittle is an animal, though Jimmy Garoppolo, he is getting old in Madden terms, not in real life, though. I don't know what I plan to do with him, but I'll probably keep him for the first few seasons. I don't really know, but anyways, guys, other than that, let's get into the team. So here we are with the overlook of the team as we have Jimmy Garoppolo here, 76 overall star dev, but he is 28. I believe regression for quarterback starts at 30. Raheem Mostert here, he is 28, so he will regress, but I will probably keep him within the first two seasons. Tevin Coleman, I think he's got to go. There's just no need for him. Brandon Ayuk here. If I said that wrong, I'm sorry. George Kittle, in my opinion, the best tight end in the league. He's just better at blocking than Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, my bad. Travis Kelce is just... He has done really well this year. I believe Travis Kelce has done great in receiving wise, but I just don't think he blocks as good as George Kittle. But this D-line is great. D forward here, I'm going to move into defensive tackle. I might even trade him away because he takes up so much cap. I know that. Jaquiski Tartt here. He takes up a lot of cap too for being 28 and only a star dev. Dre Greenlaw seems pretty good. Fred Warner always turns out to be a superstar X Factor. Jimmy Ward, I might have to trade him away too. Quan Williams, the Wheel of Franchise legend. If you guys watch Wheel of Franchise, you guys should definitely go watch it right now if you haven't already. But here we are at the first trading away, D Ford, Jimmy Ward, and Jaquiski Tartt. You guys may be saying, oh, this is totally unrealistic. They take up tens of millions of cap, and they're just going to regress, so there's no point to keeping them. Next, we're trading away a halfback, a right end, and a defensive tackle in Solomon Thomas. Huge draft bust for a first, and a 2. And this is what the team looks like after the trades. Not really too big of a difference, in my opinion. Mostly just depth players. Brandon Ayuk is in the slot. That's where I want him. And Javon Kinlaw, I would like him to be my starting rush defensive tackle. And all of that is correct. So offensively, we look all right. Maybe upgrade right guard later. So defensively, you can tell the safeties are looking bad, but I want to start maybe rookies over there. This guy is relatively young, so I'll keep him there. Maybe Quan Williams can start over him. And this guy is actually kind of old. Who is this guy? Let me just start this guy. He's 24 years old, so hopefully he can get a star dev and I'll keep him on the team. But if he doesn't, we'll just pick up somebody in the draft. So I don't think this team is Super Bowl contender in the first year in Madden terms, just because Jimmy Garoppolo is a low overall. But other than that, boys, let's get to the midseason mark. So here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Seattle Seahawks. We have frustrated running back and Raheem Mostert, and we are 5-3 though. Wow, that's actually very surprising. But Seahawks are 6-1 above us in the division. And we have players to resign such as Trent Williams. He might retire after the first season, but I would like to keep him around. Now, if you guys don't know this already, offensive linemen do not affect simulation, but I want to keep this somewhat realistic so that way it's just not like totally unfair and I can just stack out the team with skilled players and maxed out receivers and Julio Jones and Devontae Adams on the team. That would just be ridiculously stupid. I don't want to do that, so I want to resign offensive lineman, and I want to resign Kyle Juszczyk, the former Raven, and he was absolutely amazing for us, and he's been absolutely amazing. Best fullback in the league as he resigns. And Quan Williams here, absolutely love you in Wheel of Franchise, but you're 29 years old and you won't do anything in simulation. But everyone else here, I do not have an interest for, and maybe I'll have an interest for Richard Sherman at the end of the season. But other than that, guys, let's get to the playoffs. So here we are in the playoffs, coming off a win to the Seattle Seahawks, as we are here to face the 10-6 Seattle Seahawks in the wild card, as we made the 7th seed, as the Seahawks made the 2nd seed. So the Seahawks obviously took the division at 10-6, I assume they did. We finished 8-8 above the 7-9 Los Angeles Rams. Jimmy Garoppolo had a pretty solid season in yards, not so much in touchdowns. 16th best offense, 9th best defense. Jimmy Garoppolo, 4,200 yards, 25 TDs, 12 interceptions, pretty solid. Raheem Mostert, 8 TDs, over 1,000 yards, pretty solid as well. Deebo Samuel had a great year, and Brandon Ayuk had an amazing rookie year. 1,200 yards and 1,000 yards for both the receivers. Fred Warner with the most tackles on team, most tackles for a loss, goes to 20 for Javon Kinlaw. Sacks on the team goes to 9.5 for Nick Bosa. Most interceptions, 4 for Richard Sherman. That may be re-sign worthy. Safeties on the team is 0, and defensive touchdowns on the team is 0. So overall, great year for us. Even though we went 8-8, I feel like this has overall been a solid team. But can we beat the division rivals, the Seattle Seahawks, to move on to the divisional round? Can we do it? No, we cannot. Losing 38-35 against the Seattle Seahawks. But we did get a Player of the Week award in Jimmy Garoppolo with 4 passing touchdowns and not even an interception. That must have been a really good game. But other than that, boys, let's jump into the offseason. So we were in the offseason as the Browns beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. But we're going to be looking into the 2020 retirements. And we are NFC West, I do believe. Yep, and it looks like nobody on our team had retired. So that's good news for us, especially since Trent Williams did not retire. He's a big part of our team. But Richard Sherman is only an 89 overall, but I think he's going to be cheaper in free agency, so I'm actually going to wait till free agency. You guys may be like, oh, that's unrealistic. No, if I wait till free agency, I feel like I can get him from a little bit cheaper, especially since he's regressing. And Deebo Samuel has got up to superstar dev. He's got short and elite as his ability. He's only an 84 overall, and Brandon Ayuk, I believe, was a star dev before, so now he has superstar dev, so this is definitely a big thing. So Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, both superstar devs. That's going to be huge for long term. And Dre Greenlaw, I definitely expect this outside linebackers get dev ups really quickly, especially young ones with star developments. And Javon Kinlaw has superstar dev, which I believe he did come with, if I'm not mistaken. But everything here looks pretty good to me. We just need to focus on safety and free agency or the draft. But other than that, guys, this team looks pretty good. So let's jump into free agency. So this is what the team looks like after free agency. As offensively, we didn't really do too much, but defensively, we did get Richard Sherman back on a really cheap deal. Not extremely, but still pretty solid. And Chardavius Ward, pretty good depth defensive back, and he is relatively cheap. And Geno Atkins, he's kind of like a rental player. He's just like fill in for now. D-line looking absolutely stud-like, but still, we're just going to jump into the draft. So we were on the draft picking up an outside linebacker, 74 overall, normal dev, sadly, but he is a speed rusher, so 22 years old as well. 74 overall, strong safety, sadly, again, only normal dev, but he will definitely replace our former one. This is what the team looks like after the draft, as we also got Zach Pascal here and free agency. I forgot to mention that. I don't know how I missed it, but he was there, so he's in the slot. You guys can go check back in the recording if you want to, but he was there. And it looks like hopefully our new rookie safeties can progress, but they don't really look too great. But D-line looks amazing. Linebacking core is slowly getting there, and same with defensive backs. But other than that, guys, it's time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a bye week, and we have a breakout player. I would definitely hop in to do that. Mac Cole, the free safety, finally, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted the free safety or one of the safeties to get a dev up, and I would definitely hop into that one off camera. But we are 6-1, top the division, above the 5-2 Seattle Seahawks. That is amazing. And we have Fred Warner here to re-sign, 95 overall, superstar dev, and I'm going to keep him on a long-term deal, 6 years, why not, and up the salary, and he stays with the team. Raheem Mostert is here, and I want to see how he regresses at the end of the season, so I'll wait on that. Lakeland Tomlinson, he'll be good for the rest of the rebuild, I do believe, but he will regress soon, but he stays with the team. Geno Atkins, he's a rental player. I don't really know how I feel about him, so I don't really want him right now. Maybe I'll pick him up again in free agency just to get him on a cheaper contract. But other than that, guys, it is time to jump into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs, coming off a loss to the Vikings as we made the playoffs at 10-6, here to face the 10-6 Arizona Cardinals. Dre Greenlaw has out my way an adrenaline rush as his superstar abilities at an 85 overall. Looking into the playoff bracket, we made the 5th seed here to face the 4th seed Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray as the Arizona Cardinals took the division. Wow, that was a comeback. Jimmy Garoppolo, again, kind of the same as last season. 16th the best offense, 13th the best defense. Jimmy Garoppolo, 4,100 yards, 28 TDs, 14 interceptions. Raheem Mostert, 11 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards, so he did a little bit better than last season. Deebo Samuel, over 1,000 yards, 3 TDs. Zach Pascal had 9 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk had a down year from last year. And defensively, Chardavius Ward with the most tackles on the team, most tackles for a loss, goes to 16 for Javon Kinlaw. There's a lot of tackles for a loss there. That was really nice to see. Nick Bosa, 6.5 sacks, but sacks has been lacking, but tackles for a loss have been up, so run stuffing is our thing. Fred Warner with the most interceptions on the team with 4. Safeties is 0, and defensive touchdowns is 1 for Richard Sherman. So that is definitely good, especially if we can keep him throughout this entire rebuild. That would be huge if we could keep Richard Sherman throughout the entire rebuild, especially on the cheap contract that I have him. But we're going to up some stuff in Coach XP. I could do that later if I want to, but I'm not going to hop into this. I'm going to simulate the wild card round as I always do. I never need to play the wild card round. So can we beat the Arizona Cardinals to move on to the divisional round? We can. Here to face the Dallas Cowboys as we beat the Cardinals 38-14. We are the better player in the division, better team in the division. And we could possibly be facing the Saints or the Falcons, division rivals in that matchup. Can we beat the Cowboys to move on to the conference championship to face the Falcons or the Saints? Can we do it? Please actually load game. No, we can't. Losing 38-7 because Cowboys are just simulation gods along with the Browns, even though they're both not really that good. I mean, the Browns are pretty good actually, but did you see that Ravens and Browns game? Yeah, go Ravens. 47-42. Here we are in the offseason as it is 31-21 as the Saints beat the Las Vegas Raiders in the Super Bowl. Looking into the retirements, it looks like 2 Seahawks did retire, but no Niners, no Rams, and no Cardinals did retire in the division. But looking into the team, Raheem Mostert has regressed 3 whole overalls. That is massive. I can't re-sign that. Geno Atkins has regressed 2 overalls. Maybe in free agency I'll pick them both up on a cheap deal, but I just can't re-sign Raheem Mostert, who's going to continue to regress. He regressed 3 whole overalls. I just can't do that. But this is what the overlook of the team is. And looking into it, Fred Warner now has Superstar X Factor with Momentum Shift, and I'm going to change that because that's kind of crummy. And Momentum Shift is overpowered in Superstar KO. It just shuts off the Superstar X Factor, so make sure you get that in Superstar KO. But Matt Cole, he got the Star Dev from the Breakout Challenge that I did hop into off camera. But other than that, guys, I would say that it is time to jump into free agency. Here we are in free agency as it looks like we didn't really do too much on offense except to get Rojo here, 25 years old, Star Dev. He will be about the same level as Raheem Mostert considering they were close to the same overall, but defensively we didn't really do too much. So other than that, guys, let's get into the draft. Here we are in the draft picking up a defensive back, 77 overall, only normal dev, but he is ranked number 3 in the class as we picked him up at number 7. He's a slot archetyped as well. Next, we're picking up a left guard, probably going to move him to right guard, 73 overall, normal dev, agile, 22 years old. He'll be pretty solid. Next, we're picking up another halfback, but we got him in the second round, 70 overall, hidden dev. Hopefully he can be a good depth player. He won't be a starter. Next, we're picking up a defensive tackle, Tremaine Smith, 73 overall, hidden dev. Ranked number 22 in the class, so that's pretty big. And this is what the team looks like after the draft. So O-line is actually looking pretty solid, I would say. Nothing insane though. And defensively, I'd like to start this defensive tackle as the D-line is back to the good old days where it was. And everything else here looks pretty good. So other than that, guys, I would say that it's time to jump into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark as we are coming off a bye week. We have a breakout player in Zach Pascal, and I would definitely hop in to do that. And we are going to have 3 superstar receivers once I'm done with that breakout challenge. So that is definitely big, but it is against the Chiefs, so it might be a little bit challenging. But we are 6-1, top the division, above the 4-4 Arizona Cardinals. We have players to re-sign, such as Deebo Samuel and Mike McGlinchey. Deebo Samuel, he's going to be a big contract. Spread that out a little bit more and up the salary, and he stays with the team. That is big. Mike McGlinchey, I'd love to keep around as well. Only 27 years old, and he is an 88 with Star Dev, so this is actually a relatively solid contract for a right tackle, and especially for one of his caliber, so that was actually a pretty good deal for us. And Dre Greenlaw, I want Dre Greenlaw, but I also don't know how I feel about Jimmy Garoppolo. Dre Greenlaw, I would definitely up his money, but he wants a lot of money as well. He wants a lot of money for being a pass coverage linebacker, but I'm going to re-sign him anyways because it would be unrealistic not to re-sign him. Weston Richburg here, I'm going to keep him around just because he will maintain through the rest of the rebuild, I believe. I don't think he'll drop below 76. But Jimmy Garoppolo, the big question, he's regressing. I don't know what I can do. I'm going to bring down the salary so I could possibly franchise tag him next year. I don't know what I want to do with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll have to see at the end of the season. But other than that, guys, let's jump into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs coming off a win to the Las Vegas Raiders as the Cardinals are at 8-8. We took the division at 10-6, and the Rams went 9-7. So 3 people in our division made the playoffs. Jimmy Garoppolo looked the same as last year. 14 offensively and 24th defensively in the NFL. 4,200 yards, 24 TDs, 10 interceptions. Rojo, 10 TDs and 1,000 yards. George Kittle with 1,100 yards, but only 3 TDs. And Zach Pascal did pretty all right. Deebo Samuel did all right as well. Fred Warner with the most tackles on team, most tackles for a loss. Well, a lot of tackles for Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, but the most tackles for a loss, 14 for Nick Bosa. Most sacks on the team, 8 for Nick Bosa. Interceptions, 3 for Richard Sherman. Most safeties on the team goes to 0, and defensive touchdowns is 0. So, yeah, other than that, guys, we're going to simulate this wildcard round against the Arizona Cardinals to see if we can once again beat them in the wildcard to move on to the divisional round. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Here to face the Saints as we win 20-17. We have some team leader discussions probably about how Trent Williams is going to retire, so I'm not worried about that. We could be facing the Rams or the Cowboys in our conference championship if we do beat the Saints. Can we beat the Saints to move on to the conference championship? Please tell me we can. We do. Here to face the LA Rams, the division rivals, as we beat the Saints 44-33. As we are finally in the conference championship. So I'm actually probably going to hop into this one against the LA Rams, as I'm going to increase some weekly goal XP and training XP and all that other stuff. But this is what the playoff bracket looks like, as we could be facing the Ravens or the Chiefs, both simulation gods. So that would be very, very difficult, I would say. But still, I'm going to hop into this game once again against the LA Rams to see if we can beat them. So here we are in the game, as it is the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left, and now 1.5 minutes left. 14-13 against the Rams, 17-13 against the Rams. Big end game drive. We can't do anything as they beat us 20-17 in the final seconds of the game. That is unfortunate as the Rams move on to the Super Bowl. Here we are in the offseason as the Rams beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Very interesting. And it looks like for the retirements, nobody on our team once again retired. That is very, very convenient for us. So we're going to be going into our final season here. Again, the question, do we re-sign Jimmy Garoppolo? He hasn't ever really been a stud for us. He's regressing as well. He hasn't been amazing. I know it would be maybe realistic to re-sign him, but there has been rumors of the Niners moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think I'm going to do that here, and if there's no good QBs in free agency, then I'm just going to re-sign Jimmy Garoppolo in free agency. But it looks like our second string halfback had superstar dev, so that's cool, I guess. And it doesn't really matter, but Zach Pascal did get superstar dev with that breakout challenge, so it was definitely cool to do that, but we didn't really need it. I'd say receivers have been stacked throughout the entire rebuild, and Dre Greenlaw now has superstar X Factor. Kind of expected that as well, and I'm going to give him reinforcement. I like that one, and adrenaline rush is okay with me. Everything else here on the defense isn't amazing. I would like to have a better strong safety, but other than that, guys, let's jump into free agency. So, boys, you guys may be looking at me and be like, not looking at me, listening to me and be like, why did you sign Mitchell Trubisky? Guys, if you don't know, Mitchell Trubisky won MVP countless times last year in Madden Simulation. He is a god in Madden Simulation. Just trust me on this one. So here we are in the draft as we're picking up an outside linebacker. Sadly, not a star dev, so he probably won't be starting. And yeah, that's probably going to be it for this draft, considering we only had one draft pick, really. So this is what the team looks like after the draft. Not really too big of things, I would say. And defensively, not really big either. We couldn't really trade for much. We didn't have too much cap. But Mitch Trubisky will lead us to the promised land. Let's get to the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark as we're coming off a win to the Saints. And we are 6-2 at the midseason mark. Fourth quarter Mitch is elite, as the Seahawks are at the top of the division at 6-2. But it is the final season. So just like every season in the final season, I do not need to resign anybody. So I will not do that. So other than that, guys, it is time to jump into the playoffs. Here we are at the playoffs coming off a win to the Cardinals, and we have a first round bye, along with the Browns, who also have a first round bye. Fourth quarter Mitch, baby. Mitchell Trubisky is a GOAT. Go, I tell you. And Deebo Samuel had a player of the week against the Cardinals, apparently. 14-2, you are kidding me. Mitch Trubisky is goated. No one can tell me otherwise. We have the best team in the NFL with Mitch Trubisky. God tier. God tier, I tell you. Yards wasn't great, but touchdowns was actually pretty good. 16th best offense, And where did he go? Is he even in the top 10? He's not. Okay, he's 10th in the MVP talk, but not quite there. But still, his yards, if he would have made up for that, he could have been well in the MVP talk. And he has the 4th best defense in the NFL. 3,900 yards, 36 TDs, 7 interceptions. Rojo, 5 TDs, 1,000 yards. And Deebo Samuel, 1,200 yards, 10 TDs. Great year for him. And defensively, Fred Warner with the most tackles on the team, most tackles for a loss, goes to 16 for Nick Bosa. And most sacks on the team goes to 13 for Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa really tearing it up in his career. 5 interceptions for Chardavius Ward. Safeties, 1 for Eric Armstead, and defensive touchdowns is 0. So, other than that, let's see who we're going to be facing in the divisional round to see if we can move on to the conference championship and possibly make it to the Super Bowl in our final year with fourth quarter Mitch. And before we get into this, guys, I just want to really say, if you guys have made it this far, I would really appreciate it if you guys like and or subscribed. It really means a lot to me. It would really push out my videos to YouTube for other people to see it. So I really appreciate that. And if you subscribed, it would really mean a lot to me as well. Just having all your guys' comments and suggestions really means a lot to me. It really keeps me going. But we're changing his name here to the only thing it should be in the NFL. And actually, no, we're changing the number to Tom Brady's number because this is the real GOAT here. I Am the GOAT is now his new name, legally changed, just like Chad Ochocinco. And now we are going to simulate this wildcard round to see who we're going to be facing in the divisional round, because we obviously have a first round bye. And that team will be, Seahawks. I thought it was going to be the Cardinals again. 9-7 Seahawks. Can we beat them to move on to the conference championship? Please tell me a 14-2 team can beat a 9-7 team. What am I talking about? The Ravens.
You stupid. You know that, right, son? You really a dumb.
Ravens lost to the Titans, I believe, who were 9-7, and the Ravens were 14-2. Very sad boy hours. But we are here to face the football team, and I do not want to lose to a team that doesn't have a team name. Football team actually seems to be doing really good in simulation this year. I don't know why, but other than that, boys, we're going to drop into the simulation. So I was playing a lot in the game. I actually just scored a touchdown, and it is 27-24 in the game. 1 minute left in the game as well. 27-24 is your final score as we move on to the Super Bowl. Here we are in the Super Bowl, here to face the... no. I did not want to face the Browns. They're gods in simulation. This frustrates me. Mitch Trubisky did not get a dev up. I kind of want to change him to Superstar X Factor for the memes, but I'm not going to do that. Chardavius Ward now has Star Dev. It looks like everyone else here is the exact same. I really want to change Mitch Trubisky to a Superstar X Factor, but I don't want to do that and be considered cheating at the end of this. So let's just jump into the Super Bowl matchup. So we are in the Super Bowl as it looks like it is 24-17. 2 minutes left in the game. We strike right back, 24-24. Now 24-31 in the final seconds. Of course, they managed to do that. I'm going to have to hop in here. We're going to lose the Super Bowl 24-31. That was really hard to drive down the field, especially with Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky in simulation is a god, guys, but in real life, not so much. So your Super Bowl MVP is a CPU-generated QB, 316 yards, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. Great game for him. But yeah, that's going to be it. Anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this rebuild. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I would consider this rebuild somewhat successful. We did make it to the Super Bowl, and we made it to the conference championship twice, winning it once out of the games. So it's somewhat successful, though we didn't win the Super Bowl. I'm very satisfied with the way this team turned out. Probably my most favorite rebuild. Probably would be the Browns, actually. The Browns one was really, really fun to do, especially with all their stacked players and being simulation gods. It was, again, just really fun. But if you guys are new to the channel, again, I hate to keep barging this on you, but if you could subscribe, it would just mean so much to me. But anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this episode and for this rebuild. So I will see you guys all in the next one.